Hi, I'm Bennett Borden, founder and CEO of Clarion AI Partners and chair of the Utah State Bar AI Committee.
Hi, I'm Victoria Carrington, a patent attorney associate at Borden, and a member of the Utah State Bar Innovation and Law Practice Committee. Today, we're excited to talk about a handful of AI tools that are transforming the way Utah lawyers and legal professionals work. We'll highlight some things each tool can be used for and hope to give you ideas about how you can use AI in your own practice.
So let's kick things off with ChatGPT by OpenAI. This is one of the most popular tools out there. It's what everybody's kind of heard of, and we all understand how these works, right? We type in a question and it spits out a response as if it was written by human level intelligence. And so you give it a prompt, it gives you a response back.
There's a free version that most of us are familiar with, but if you want the added security, administrative controls, features like that, then you might want to look into upgrading to ChatGPT Business. That makes it so that the default setting is that that your data is not being trained on for the model. So that's about $25 per user per month, and that's a good thing to consider if you really want to be using this every day in your legal practice.
And that's a really good point, because we all have confidentiality requirements, right? And so the business-facing version, the business paid version of this, you get all of those safety controls, you get all the security just like any other web-based tool. And so it's a very good tool to be able to use for everyday work.
Yeah, so for example, one of the things you might want to use ChatGPT for is helping you with drafting or coming up with things. I can think of an example. If you wanted to help a local business file a trademark application, maybe you could write in the prompt something along the lines of, I'm filing a trademark application for the mark Beehive Brewing Company. What would be appropriate classes for me to write a description of goods and services for? And then you would give it some specific information. That's the thing. You want to make sure that you are prompting ChatGPT with information to help it be helpful to you. And so here, maybe I would give it, I'm writing a trademark application for this mark for coffee shops, coffee beans, and coffee mugs. And I actually did run this prompt through ChatGPT this morning. And what it gave back to me were suggested classes. It gave me an explanation of why it chose those classes. And then it actually gave me an example description of goods or services that then I could use as a jumping off point. So I wouldn't say go ahead and file exactly what it gave me, but certainly it was helpful, from there, then I can tailor it, draft it to meet my client's needs.
And that's a really great point, right? These are great ideation tools. And so they're a good place to start. They can explain things in plain English. So one of the things that I do is when I'm trying to explain a difficult concept to a client, I'll have my draft or talking points, and I'll feed it into ChatGPT and say, help me explain this in plain English to a client in a way that they might understand it. And it will help. I can control the tone of it, the formality of it. And so really lean into these tools like ChatGPT, because the more you work with it, the better it will work for you and become much more personalized to your practice. So another tool that is one of my very favorites is Google Notebook LM. There's a free version that's very good, but if you're looking for higher usage limits and better analytics, consider the Google AI Pro, which is currently about $20 a month.
With Notebook LM, you can upload files, you can put in URLs, and then you can ask it to do a myriad of things. It can generate timelines, you can have it quiz you. One of my favorite features is that it can actually create a podcast-style audio overview. So say you want to learn more about a topic, you could upload a bunch of papers on it, and then literally listen to a 20-minute podcast on that material.
It's absolutely one of my favorite things. And we use this to imagine you can put in case law and ask questions about what different holdings are. You could put in a discovery file or deposition transcripts. And it's a very good way to create a database of knowledge that you can then query to use in many different ways in your practice. It's a very powerful tool.
So for example, you could ask Notebook LM to do specific tasks like list all portions of a deposition transcript where a certain person admits a certain fact. Or you could say summarize Utah case law on what counts as a genuine issue of material fact under Rule 56 or something along that lines.
And so it becomes your own body of knowledge that you can really start to get insight out of. And then, of course, we've all heard about Microsoft Copilot. If you use Microsoft 365 already, Copilot's in there, right? And so you can, again, you want to use the professional licensing version of this, which is going to cost you about $30 extra per month, but it gives you much more protections like we're used to with cloud-based services.
Copilot can be used to help you draft documents from contracts to client letters, all of that right in Microsoft Word. It can also analyze spreadsheets in Excel, help you create presentations in PowerPoint, and it really does integrate seamlessly with Outlook, Teams, and SharePoint. So again, if you're already using Microsoft 365, it's a great choice.
And that's the best thing about it, right, is that it's already integrated. And so being able to use it with the Microsoft suite that you're already used to is great. I use it all the time to say, oh, I'm preparing for this meeting, summarize all of my last conversations in this particular folder, right, of emails with a client, so I kind of get back into my head where this is.
Yeah, so again, some examples, you could literally use Copilot directly in Word to maybe help you refine, say you're drafting a proposed parenting plan. If you're a family law attorney, you could ask Copilot with a prompt like rewrite section 4 in a neutral tone suitable for mediation, keeping all legal terms but softening the emotional language, and it would give you a revised draft that you could then review.
So it really becomes quite the efficiency gain, right? And so shifting a little bit to this is like Zoom AI Companion or similar things to those online tools, right? You have the video conferencing tools that have these, they'll summarize the meeting, they'll do follow-up tasks, and they're one of the things that really saves a lot of time post-meeting.
Yeah, Zoom AI Companion can automatically summarize your meetings. It can generate action items for you to do afterwards. It can transcribe meetings, draft follow-up emails, and also help you organize things like whiteboard sessions.
So let's say you're representing a local tech startup and you're negotiating a Series A investment. You're coordinating among founders, investors, and outside accountants on all these multiple Zoom calls, lots of versions of documents, and the constant follow-up tasks that drive us all crazy.
Yes. So that's exactly when you'd want to use Zoom AI. If you're already using Zoom for these types of meetings, you could have it help you draft the email following up after your meeting. You could also prompt it with something like summarize the agreed upon points that we discussed. And it's also helpful for preparing things like client updates and internal collaboration. So you could do something like the prompt, generate a weekly status email, summarizing progress on the Series A's closing checklist.
And this has become a beautiful tool because we're all in too many meetings, right? And trying to remember where we're at and who's going to follow up on what is always just a terrible task. And a similar tool to this is Notion's AI. So Notion is worth talking about because of what it can do. There's a free trial version, but again, the business versions are going to give you better security and confidentiality options than a consumer-facing version will.
Yep, and so Notion AI for business, that's about $24 per user per month currently, and Notion has been known to have a kind of steep learning curve, so maybe not the best AI tool to jump straight into if you're not already comfortable with Notion. But if you are, a great way to again, you can build up a database, you can upload your files, you can ask it for specific things. So you could create a Notion database with pages each organized for your open cases. Say you're a bankruptcy attorney and you have client communications on one page, court deadlines, tracked in another page, a bunch of asset liability information, a bunch of pleadings and filings. All of that can be organized in your database, and then you can use Notion AI to do stuff with that. And
unlike some of these other tools, you can build workflows. And so let's say you have a client intake form that you use all the time. You can literally take the information from that form, it'll organize it into different places that you need, keep it for when you're drafting memos or letters or things like that. So it's like Victoria said, it's a little bit of a more advanced tool, but it actually really helps in workflows that you do steps over and over again.
Yeah, and if you just need to find anything, you can prompt it again, like the other AI tools we've been talking about. You can say, give me all my notes on a particular topic, and it'll pull those up for you.
Now, all of these tools are super helpful in the ways that we've talked about, but there are tools that are specifically trained on legal materials. And so Thomson Reuters, Westlaw has co-counsel. Lexis AI Plus has a similar tool. And the nice thing is that as Utah Bar members, there's a resource page for Lexis AI Plus on the practice portal. And we also get a 15% discount, which is good because these things are not necessarily the least expensive things in the world. But because they are trained on everything on Westlaw or everything on Lexis, it is much more helpful in things like drafting documents or doing legal research. And it'll get you out of some of the trouble that we've seen in the headlines where people use non-legally trained models to do legal work.
All that being said, we do want to note and remind you that just because co-counsel, Lexis Plus AI, or other legally specific trained AI platforms like Harvey AI, just because they're trained on legal material doesn't mean that they can't make mistakes. They can make mistakes and they do make mistakes. So keep that in mind no matter what type of AI tool you're using.
And that's really one of the main messages we want to get across. AI can utterly transform how you practice law. These tools are amazingly powerful, but they're also just tools. And so when we've done testing with these legally trained LLMs, they'll spit out some really good stuff, like a good third or fourth level associate type of work. But in the same way, you wouldn't take a memo from a young associate and hand it off to a client or hand it off to a court. You want to have a QC process because under our professional conduct rules, we're the ones who are responsible for every word that comes out of our law firm, especially to a tribunal or the other side.
So really, we want to leave you with that message that have reasonable guardrails in place, but also get excited. These AI tools are super cool and they are transforming the way lawyers in Utah are interacting with the legal profession. They're making us faster drafters. They're helping us reduce errors. We want you to feel like you have the ability to use these tools confidently and get excited about them.
And what I tell my clients is exactly that, Victoria, is think about being curious and courageous. If you don't know how to use these tools, ask them. They'll tell you how to use them. Put a question in and say, hey, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. What's the best way to use it? And these tools will tell you how best to use them. There's tons of YouTube videos out there, and it takes so much of the basic grunt work that many of us have had to slog through for much of our early careers. And it allows us to do what lawyers do best, which is counsel our clients.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this helpful. There will be more content coming out about how to use tools like this in your everyday practice. And so keep an eye on the resources page for the bar.
And of course, if you have any questions or just want to talk more about AI in legal practice, feel free to reach out to the AI Committee or the Innovation in Law Practice Committee. We're here to help you make the most out of these technologies.